Hey, gorgeous people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Janine Harry, a communication scientist by profession, here to give you communication tips and self awareness strategies through conversation. So, thank you so much for joining me. Now, in today's particular YouTube video, which I do not have a presentation for, by the way, I want to encourage you to jump out of those boxes that you are either placing yourself in or people are placing you in. Okay, you got to jump out of that box. And the box is quite literally just a playful term that we use to refer to the identities that people are subjecting us to or the identities that we are imposing upon ourselves. So let me explain. So, a couple of years ago, you may have been a really shy, timid, and insecure person. And then one day you woke up and you were like, hey, I don't want to be shy, insecure, and timid any longer. I want to change. I want to be a different person. I want to show up differently. And the people in your life may have been like, what on earth is happening? Who does he or she think they are? This is all fake. Like your personality is fake. You've changed, and so forth, right? And a lot of times when people say things like, well, you've changed, they don't always mean that in a very positive way. What they're actually trying to say is that you have this one core identity, and that is who you really are. And everything else that contrasts this one core identity, that is not real. That is not you. And it's so funny when people say this because identities are fluid, ever evolving, and it will always change. Think about it this way: who you were when you were 5 years old is completely different to who you are today. And we think, like, oh, that is normal. Like, you are supposed to change when you are an adult. You are supposed to be a completely different person to who you were when you were 5 years old. However, your identity yesterday or a couple of weeks ago can also be completely different to your identity today. And this is because, as I said, identities are fluid, it's forever shifting. You are allowed to have your identity shift and be fluid because the highest truth in this universe is that identities quite literally don't exist. I know that sounds really scary. Like, how on earth can you say that our identities don't exist? But think about it this way: our identities are quite literally so fleeting, right? And this is because who we are today is not just different to who we were when we were kids. It's quite literally different to who we are in every stage and phase of our lives. That is how fleeting identities are. And this is why it is okay for you to be okay with the fact that you can change. You can jump out of the box or the identity box that people have placed you in. It is completely fine. People will say things like, well, you've changed. And this is because, aspects of your old identity might be aspects that have made people comfortable. But it is okay to change, even if your personality or your new identity doesn't make people comfortable. It is completely okay to change because change is for you. Change is a very personal thing. Change is about you. It's got absolutely nothing to do with anyone else. A lot of times when people speak about comfort zones, they usually speak about comfort zones within the context of, professionalism. So it's like, oh, you got to get out of your comfort zone and start a new career. You've got to get out of your comfort zone and make new friends and do different things. But I honestly believe that our first comfort zones are the identities that we get attached to. And this is just your reminder that you do not need to get attached to your identity. A lot of times we can think of the idea of not getting attached to our identities in a very positive sense. Like, oh my word, I'm so excited about the fact that I can change who I am and I can be a different person. But a lot of people do not view that in a very positive way because a lot of people don't believe that they can overcome these identities that they have imposed upon themselves because they believe that identities are fixed and cannot be changed. And this is why people may, from a very disempowered space, say things like, well, I would like to change. I would like to do things differently. I would like to have a more expanded mindset. I would like to have more empowering thoughts. But I don't think I can do that because this is just the way I am. I've always been disempowered. I've always had limiting beliefs. I've always been fearful. And there's nothing wrong with being disempowered, having limiting beliefs, and being fearful because each and every person walking the planet today feels disempowered in some sense, has a range of limiting beliefs, has so many fears. The problem is that a lot of times we feel like we cannot overcome that because we feel like that is who we are. We think that we are our fears. We are our limiting beliefs. We are our personalities of feeling disempowered. And here's the thing, you do not need to get attached to any identity, whether that identity is a positive identity or whether that identity is a negative identity. You do not need to get attached to anything. You are able to shift and reinvent yourself each and every day. So, this is your encouragement to ask yourself, what am I willing to change? What aspects of my identity am I willing to refine? Because I can promise you that getting out of the identity box that people have placed you in or you have placed yourself in will give you greater freedom. It's time to not dance within the box. Instead, you got to dance outside of the box. So get outside of those comfort zones, reinvent yourself, and know that change is your birthright. Till next time, much love.